November the 18th wasn't particularly a great day for those working on Cloudflare. And of course, if you were just using the internet on that day, you may have noticed lots of requests going out and failing, maybe giving back 500s, etc. And luckily, Cloudflare have produced a really nice, super detailed report explaining exactly what went wrong. And what I want to try and do is go through the report and just try and break it down as simply as I can without getting too techy, just so you can understand the two failures. In my view, there was two failures behind the scenes. One involving a database and a change to a database, and the other one involving some code in Rust. So let's jump over to the screen. We'll take a look at the report, we'll skim through it, and we'll look at the bits which I think are most important. First thing we can see is this little graph here. So this is showing basically the outage. So anything with the 5xx error code, anything in that kind of 5 range here that kind of hints at the internal server error, proxy error sort of domain. So we can see starts off pretty normal, and then yeah, there we go. All hell is breaking loose and people are not happy. So you can see there's clearly a problem here. And let's go down to this bit here. So this is basically where things go wrong. So this basically outlines roughly the journey that people take from making a request, it going through, and then like stuff coming back. The problem they had was in this bots region here. Bot service, which is kind of interesting, is basically this. So what it basically does, it's a system to detect if someone visiting the site is automated or not, which is kind of cool. So they have a model behind the scenes, does some calculations. It's going to be a simple machine learning model, or not simple, I don't know. It's going to be some model to determine if you look like a bot or not, basically. So just bear that in mind. That's where the issue is going to be. So we can see what they say here. So the bot management includes, among other systems, a machine learning model that they use to generate bot scores for every request traversing our network. The customers use bot scores to control which bots are allowed to access their sites or not. Now, what's interesting is, I think, this bit here. For the model to work, it takes a feature configuration file, and a feature in this context is a trait used by the machine learning model to make a prediction about whether the request was automated or not. The feature configuration file is a collection of individual features. Now, every few minutes, this feature file is refreshed. The reason why it's refreshed every few minutes is because, the way people do attacks on websites can change very quickly, so it's important to refresh this as often as possible so that their systems are as up to date as they can be to be aware of new attacks. So just something to bear in mind that this is a file which is refreshing every few minutes to make sure that they're as aware as they can be to new threats, okay? So we have a file refreshing every few minutes. Now, where things start to go wrong is this feature file started to have a large number of duplicated feature rows. So whatever is generating this file, suddenly something has gone wrong with this. It's now giving back a file which is much too big. And it's the fact that this file is much too big which starts to make things kind of start to fail. In fact, what I'll do first, rather explaining how this file started to get too big, let's go down to why this genuinely caused a crash. So we head down to here. So this is a piece of Rust code which is responsible for everything breaking and not being too happy. So we know we have a file which is much bigger than expected. It's got loads of duplicate rows in. So just as I said earlier, we now have a bad file. We have a file that is too big. It's bigger than what we normally expect. And that's where things really start to go wrong. So each module running on their service has some limits in place to avoid unbounded memory consumption, and they pre-allocate memory as a performance optimization. This is fairly common. If you pre-allocate memory, you can say okay, this part of the memory is here. We're going to save it for this process to go and use. So they've done that. Looks really smart. And in this system, the bot management system has a limit on the number of features that can be used at runtime. So currently it's set to 200, well above what people use of around 60. And again, they reiterate that it exists for performance reasons. So bear in mind, up until this point, they've got a limit set to 200. Their current configuration file, the feature file, has been going in time and time again. That's been fine. It's had around 60 features. Suddenly, something's come along, made this configuration file far too big. That's where things have gone wrong. The system has been built to basically expect it to have less than 200. and then it's panicked and crashed. That really is the core of the issue. We have a file that's too big, the code wasn't expecting it, it's crashed and panicked. And the actual offending bit of code itself is this unwrap section here. And in short, what this does, it basically forces Rust to give you back a value, but panic if there's an error. And by panic, it just means crash. So in my view, you'd want to use this if you're building like some command line application just for yourself. This might be okay because you might want it to maybe panic if the command line is given like some input which isn't acceptable. You want it to throw massive error and not be happy. For production-ready stuff, you want to be 100% certain that the code is going to give you back something that's okay and not throw an error. If an error's raised here and you try and unwrap, that's when you get things crashing and people are going to be very upset. So in short, it's going to try and unpack the value and give you it, or it's going to crash or panic if there's an error or it gives you none. So basically, like this one line is like the result of all of Cloudflare going down, but of course, there's been failures further back, which has actually led to this point. So this here is the actual coding failure. Of course, we can see this here. Thread FL2 worker thread panicked. Of course, we've used unwrap on an error value. So that's what you would have seen in the console if you were monitoring this code. Now that we know why it's crashed, let's go back upstairs here and look at the kind of things that led up to this point. So what they have, in fact, I'm going to go straight to the query here, is we have a bit of SQL, which is saying, go ahead and select these from this, where we have this particular query matching. So given this, let's go through to what I think is the most important bit here. So they use a system called ClickHouse, which I guess doesn't matter to go into too much, but I think what is the most important bit is I think it's this bit here. So before today, for when the error happened, the users of ClickHouse would only see tables in the default database when querying tail metadata from the ClickHouse system, such as system.tables or system.columns. Then they go on to say, since users have implicit access to underlying tables in R0, we made a change at 11.05 to make this access explicit. That means that users can see the metadata of these tables as well. So if you imagine this running before 11.05, they have access to a database. If you then run this past 11.05, there's now access to more than one databases, but this doesn't query by database. It's basically just saying like, select these from here where this query matches and then order them. So after 11.05, this is now giving back way more results because the thing running that query now has greater access to lots of things. So they then go on to show, there we go, it's this guy here. So you would have gotten back something that looks a little bit like this. So that's the default table. Can I highlight it? There we go. Yeah. So you can have this default table right from the offset, but with the expansion of permissions, we can now access another table. So you would have seen feature one from the original table, and then feature one appear again from the additional table of them being given access to. Same here for feature two from default, but now feature two from the additional table. So that's basically what leads us up to having that much bigger feature file. We now have access to more tables. We pull in all the stuff by not really, setting up the query properly. Therefore, this gives us back a bigger result. Therefore, we build a bigger feature file. Therefore, this bit of code, which, assumes 200 features or less as a limit, suddenly has more than 200 features. It panics, it crashes, and then things start to go down. So just to summarize what I think's gone wrong. First of all, we've got the issue with our database and the database query. Additional permissions have been granted to a database, or changes have been made to a database, I should say. That means that queries that don't filter by database are now getting much more information than what they normally would do. So that would mean that if you were writing queries, you'd have to then account for the fact that you would then have to filter also by database. If you're just saying, give me everything, you're now getting much more data back. The second failure is one where the actual code crashes and we use that unwrap, resulting in a panic. At some point, and I guess up until the error actually, it was probably a safe assumption that a limit of 200 is okay, because most of them, as they say here, use around 60 features. But perhaps something could have been done to say, okay, rather than panicking and doing the unwrap, maybe there could be some additional check to say, okay, if we look like we're at 200 features or more, could we do something else rather than just panicking and crashing? So, a rather interesting read. I'll put the link to this in the description if you want to go check it out. And cheers for watching, guys. Have a great weekend and see you in the next video.